6 months ago, the urban farm that you're seeing today did not exist. And I can't help but smile saying that because honestly, it's just beautiful and I love being out here. But this began as a challenge to myself to turn what used to be 6,000 square feet of honestly what most of us are probably sitting on right now. Just grass. This was just a regular run of the mill backyard, nothing special, and it's in the middle of the city. You can probably hear traffic and lawnmowers running right now. And I wanted to turn this into something that would be productive, something that could provide a sustainable source of healthy organic food for my family and the community, and also be a steady source of income. And that's exactly what I've done. Today, this is Hall Harvest Market Garden, and we provide food for families across 6 different cities in Michigan. And all of this started as just a backyard. 6 months ago in January, there was snow on the ground, and I came out in my winter boots and stomped out a big rectangle in the snow for what I envisioned becoming the garden that you're seeing today. And I would love to share exactly how I turned my backyard into a profitable market garden business. And I'll do that, but we can't cover it all at once. So today I want to just look at my 40-foot row of peppers and tell you what I'm growing, how I'm growing it, how I'm keeping them healthy, and how I'm going to use these same exact plants to be prosperous and producing earlier for next year's season of growing. I'm growing all of my pepper plants in a 40-foot bed, and it is about 30 inches wide, which is pretty much the standard for the market garden style of growing. And I say about because, in all transparency, my rows are not perfect. Some of them are a little bit wider, some of them are a little bit narrower than 30 inches, but it gets the job done. I'm not out for perfection, I am out for production, and that is exactly what we have here with all of my peppers. They are really kicking it into gear. All peppers take quite a while to get established and to get going, but once they start producing fruit, you are off to the races, and you're going to have tons of peppers for the longevity of your season, especially if you pick the right varieties. So that's what I'm going to share with you today. Some of the varieties I picked for my garden, particularly keeping that market garden aspect in mind, knowing that I need high production to be able to produce food consistently for my family as well as my CSA members. So we're going to start with cayenne peppers here, which we all know and love. We'll work our way down through some different snack peppers, and we'll finish off with bell peppers. Cayenne peppers are a variety that we pretty much all know and love in some form or fashion. They are long, they are thin peppers, and they are hot peppers. Great for drying, great for making hot sauce. A lot of times here in my home, we will put them in a coffee maker, grind them up to create our own cayenne powder for cooking, and it's often a lot more flavorful and spicier than cayenne powder that you might buy at the grocery store. I also had a teaching colleague who would put peppers in his water, his drinking water, as kind of a health supplement. Not really my thing, but another way that you could use these peppers, of course. You'll notice that these plants are somewhat close together, and pepper plants actually do like to support each other a little bit, especially up in the canopy, to give each other a little bit of support in the wind and from tipping over, all of those things. We do still want some space in between the plants. I've gone about 10 inches apart on these, and that actually left me room to do some companion planting, and I'll show that here in a little bit. I have lettuce and some herbs and other things intermingling within the pepper plants. Some of those were planned to go in those spots, and some of them were pepper plants that just didn't quite make it through the transplant phase of the season, and they left a hole in this bed, and I went back and filled in that hole either with another pepper plant, or some of them were filled in with herbs and other things as well. So we'll see that as we move a little bit further down the row. Cayenne peppers, very, very prolific. They produce a lot. And like most peppers, it does take them a while to get started. But once they get established, take root, and start producing fruit, you're going to be off to the races collecting cayenne peppers for the longevity of your season, really. And they will produce pretty much until temperatures drop. And again, I will be overwintering my pepper plants, which is a process of digging them up, or you could grow them in bags if you want to skip that step, but I'll be digging mine up, putting them into flower pots. I will also be cutting the stems down quite aggressively, pretty much so that there's no foliage, and we'll be maintaining and keeping the root system alive throughout the winter. The plant will pretty much go dormant, so it won't need a lot of care. We just want to get it inside, keep the roots alive, get it out of the cold of the winter, and we will plant them back out next season, and they will be able to skip a lot of that establishment phase of developing roots, growing into a larger plant. They will start with a nice healthy root system and a stalk. It will put out side shoots, and you will get a plant, a much larger and earlier producing plant than you might otherwise get. Are you a beginner gardener struggling to grow your own food at home? Actually, enough food to feed you, your family, and maybe even share with friends? Are you maybe a little bit afraid of even starting a garden? Maybe you have a lot of space and you have no idea how to lay it out. Or maybe you have very little space. Maybe you're working with just a balcony or a tiny backyard, and you're not even certain that gardening is possible in the limited space that you have. If any of these sound like you and you're ready to actually create a garden that produces real food for you and your family week after week, I invite you to sign up for my weekly coaching session where I go over all the basics that'll get your garden up, running, and producing food in abundance either this fall or next spring. I go over how to lay out your garden, watering, fertilization, how much to fertilize, what to fertilize with. I go over spacing so your plants get enough light to thrive and also are not too close together so that they are choking each other out. I go over pests, disease, and even which plants do well together and which plants maybe you should avoid putting them together. If you are ready to create a garden that actually produces food in abundance week after week, I invite you to sign up for that coaching session with me. And the best part is this hour-long coaching session is limited each week to just 20 people. This gives me time to answer your specific questions about your specific garden. If you're ready to get your garden set up for a real harvest, sign up before space fills up, and I can't wait to help you out. This is a pepper that I'm really quite excited about. These are Shishito peppers. So take a look. That's what they look like. This one might be just about ready. I might let it go another day or two. It's a little bit tricky sometimes. You kind of have to compare them to know exactly when they're ready. When they are ready, they will turn from a slightly darker green to a little bit um, lighter green. So sometimes it's a little bit tricky to tell, but these are delicious. You saute these up in like oil, add a little bit of salt, and they're just delicious. Borrowed this variety from Yellow Door Urban Homestead. She always recommends Shishito peppers, so I thought I'd give them a try this year. They are also quite prolific. They make a lot of peppers. I would say so far not quite as many as my Cayenne peppers. Definitely not as many, but they are definitely coming in nonetheless, and I see lots of buds as well. So we will have Shishito peppers by the scores here very soon. Here are a few great examples of companion planting in my garden, particularly along with my peppers. These ones are a little bit off to the side. The peppers are just a little bit further over, but still pretty close. This is oregano, just a great herb to have, great for cooking with, and amazing for your immune system. I make tinctures primarily with my oregano, and I use it as a health supplement, a great immune system booster, great for if I feel myself maybe catching a cold, I'll go ahead and take some of that oregano tincture and it will knock that cold right out. You'll also notice red lettuce that is companion planted in between a lot of my pepper plants because the canopy just provides a nice bit of shade for the lettuce so that it's not getting direct light, but still getting enough light to grow and to do its thing without bolting. So you'll notice oregano, lettuce, there's also lemon verbena, lots of basil interplanted with my peppers as well. And that is just again, another market garden thing, really trying to capitalize on the space that you have. And also, herbs are just great pest repellents. So things like lemon verbena, things like oregano, things like basil and rosemary and marigolds, all of these things that put off strong smells, typically those smells are deterrents for one pest or another. So putting them and growing them throughout your garden in a lot of different places is just great gardening. And that is one of my number one tips for being a great gardener from the get-go, planting herbs and flowers throughout your garden that will naturally repel pests so that you are not using herbicides, pesticides, things that are going to be detrimental or harmful for your own health as a result of consuming it. So natural pest repellent starts with companion planting. This lemon verbena. Also some zinnia have made their way in there. another example of basil being interplanted with my plants. Basil does well in pretty much any soil as long as it has reasonable drainage. So anytime there's a hole in my garden, I am always happy to just go ahead and throw some basil in that spot. These are Santa Fe peppers, and really great because they go through 3 different colors in their developmental stage. They will start off as this like yellow lime green color, and you can pick them at this stage. They will change from this yellow green color to an orange color, a little bit more developed flavor. You can pick them at that stage. Then they will turn to a red color, very similar to what a cayenne would look like. And that will be the stage where they have the most developed flavor, and you can pick them at that stage as well. So you can pick these at 3 different stages, 3 different colors, create a nice visual presentation, and also a great flavor at any of those stages as well. And you can see that these are quite prolific. This is just really the first flush, and there are many buds in the canopy as well. I will go through and thin these out a little bit at another time, but you can see that the Santa Fe peppers are producing, and this is just one of many Santa Fe pepper plants. These actually haven't gone out to my CSA members yet, but they will be going out very soon, so they should be excited about that, and I'm sure they're going to enjoy them. Finally, we have Yolo bell peppers, which are just a really great bell pepper. I know not everyone loves bell peppers, but these ones are sweet. They are delicious. They come in large, round, and they go through several different colors, as do all bell peppers, but these ones have a really great flavor. This is also another great opportunity to see that companion planting working together. We have the red lettuce growing right underneath the pepper plants, which give it just a little bit of shade, which might not be there otherwise, so that it's not getting that direct light. We don't actually see yet a ton of bell peppers, definitely none that are ready for harvest yet. Of course, bell peppers are larger than all of my other peppers, so they're going to take more time to develop and to be ready for harvest, but there are lots of buds and some tiny bell peppers that we can take a look at. I'm actually going to go ahead and take the Santa Fe peppers that are ready, a few for myself, and definitely some to go out in my CSA membership boxes this week. We haven't sent out any peppers just yet, so this will be an exciting addition to those deliveries. I did start my peppers from seed, and I started them indoors in the wintertime. Then they moved to the greenhouse for a particular period of time, and of course they eventually were transplanted out into the garden well after the last frost date in the spring. When I planted these out, when I transplanted my peppers, in every individual hole, I actually added a healthy dose of blood meal fertilizer, which is pretty much 100% nitrogen, just to give them a nice big boost of energy right out of the gate as they're getting established. And that seemed to do me very well in the long run of these plants. Now, I did go back after the fact, probably once a month. I go through and I will add a layer of just balanced garden tone organic fertilizer, typically is what I use on my peppers. I actually just did that yesterday, so I won't be fertilizing again for another month or so. And that should be plenty of fertilizer to keep these plants healthy and growing all throughout the season. I know not everyone can grow 40 feet of peppers in their backyard, but when there's a will, there's a way. If you have questions about how you can grow peppers successfully in your particular growing space, drop them in the comments below, and I'd be happy to help you find a creative solution that works for you. Maybe I do need some water. That one was spicy.